It's quite loud, I would say. It's a very, very loud silence. Attention is basically just fuel, but all we try to do is keeping the hands out of it. Like your whole conditioning is basically contraction. It's like keep it down, push it down, suppress it, hold on to it, and it's all about keeping the hands out of it. Are you a meditator and struggle with the following problems? You actually don't know why pain and suffering arises in silence, what to do when old patterns arise and how to face them in silence, or if you actually use meditation as a bypassing. We're gonna dive deep into these topics, so let's start right into it. So the first one is, why do the most uncomfortable emotions arise in silence? Well, that's quite easy to answer, because what you're doing the whole day is keeping yourself busy. What that basically is putting your awareness on the mind and the content that arises in the mind, which is stuff like, oh, I still need to do shopping, I still need to do my homework, I need a new job, I need some food, I want a girlfriend, and so on. And by putting your awareness on the content of the mind, basically which arises out of the mind, you are just with that, and that's basically the most superficial level that you can operate from. So what happens when you meditate? You basically sit down and you start, in a lot of meditation practices, you start to feel into the body, and you just start to look within, and you basically have a look what's arising inside of the body. And then there is this phenomena of the pain body which arises. So basically the pain body is a creation of emotional wounds, suppressed emotions, traumas that might have occurred to you, and all of that you didn't want to feel, or maybe it was too much at the moment, so you push them down. But all emotions are just there to be felt. That's it. So once you put your awareness inside, you give space to it. And once there's space, you don't really start to act on the typical coping mechanisms that you have for these situations. And by giving them space, they start to arise. And here we go, here they are. And that's in silence. So that's why the really uncomfortable stuff comes up when you're sitting in silence. Second question, how can I stay present in daily life when old patterns keep pulling me back? Also again, an old pattern is just a certain action that you have repeated over and over and over and over and over again. This is why it's called a pattern. And it's automatic. It's basically just like a machine, like gears that are running and running and turning, and you are behaving like a robot. So the first thing what you want to do is becoming aware of it, which is the case, because otherwise you would not ask that question. So that's good that you are aware of that. What you want to do then is, again, putting the awareness not on the content of the mind, which is, for example, these patterns that are showing up and thoughts that are related to it. What you want to do is you want to turn it to something else. And basically the whole story about the pattern is something imagined, which is not real. And you want to put it on something that is actually real, that exists. And that could be, for example, the breath, which we do in vipassana. And in doing so, and turning away the attention, you're not fueling anymore the pattern. Attention is basically just fuel. And if something is not getting fueled, it starts to run out and disappear. Just by putting the awareness on the breath. Because then you're with something and fueling that which is real and not imagined. And by doing so, you will also see that the whole idea about why you had this pattern, why you have to behave in that way, was just based on imagination. Yeah. So how can I stay present in daily life when old patterns keep pulling me back? Put your attention on your breath. Watch the breath. You could also take the heartbeat, but it's a bit harder to watch. You can take just like the sensations of feet while you're walking, the body, warmth, basically anything. But the breath is good because it's always there. And yeah, basically different states are connected to the breath, and by breathing more into the belly, for example, your body is going to relax more, and when your body relaxes more, then the thoughts also slow down a bit more. There are a lot of reasons why you actually want to put it on the breath, because it's probably the best anchor. The whole idea is basically just to have an anchor that is giving you some sense of stability, and that can be like a very obvious anchor, for example, the breath, or it can be also a subtle anchor, the sense of just I am that, I am here right now, just like this moment. If that's too subtle for you at this moment, go with the breath. Third question: what does it really mean to allow pain instead of suppressing it? What does it mean to allow pain instead of suppressing it? It basically means to feel it again. Like I've explained before, when you don't act on your coping mechanisms anymore, which keep the pain in place and the discomfort that is connected to it, it starts to rise, it comes up. And basically anything, when it comes to suppressed emotions that has been suppressed, just wants to be felt. And the key is to feel it in totality, because just if you feel it in totality, it can be released totally. So it's not a meaning, but the whole idea is, it's also not an idea, it's actual. In fact, the whole approach is about feeling what's coming up, what you have suppressed. Just feel the sensations, regardless if it's now physical pain, if it's emotional discomfort, whatever is coming up for you. And just to feel it. Yeah, just welcome it, be vulnerable, be gentle, be nice to yourself, and just feel them. Just see yourself like as a gate or a door where all the suppressed stuff and the pain has to move through. And all you want to do is just not to shut the door. So it's something very passive, it's actually a non-doing. You basically just sit, you just are, and allow it to come up. But because we're so conditioned to not to do this, to keep ourselves busy, to suppress it, it seems like something we have to do. But all we try to do is keeping the hands out of it. Like your whole conditioning is basically contraction. It's like, keep it down, push it down, suppress it, hold on to it. And it's all about keeping the hands out of it. Contraction again, realizing it, keeping the hands out of it. It's like this constant going into contraction, and once you're aware of it, going into relaxation. Fourth question: how do I know if I'm using meditation to escape life rather than fully feeling it? Yeah, I think a good indicator is if the silence which you're going to go into meditation is a silence which is alive and not dead. So what I mean by that is that the natural silence which you're going to enter into through meditation is very vibrant, very juicy, very, very alive actually. It's quite loud, I would say. It's a very, very loud silence. And if that's the case, you're going to know intuitively. But there's another silence which is created by the mind, which is actually quite dead. So it can happen that there is no thought in this moment, but it can feel very dead, or you're trying to just push thoughts away, and then you will maybe find little spaces, but that's a very dead silence that's still based on suppression, and you're gonna feel it in a way that it's not alive. So that's maybe a little bit abstract at the beginning if you have not come across it. If you have come across it, you know what I'm talking about. So for the people who have not experienced this, how do I know if I'm using meditation to escape life rather than fully feeling it? Another point would be if unpleasant sensations, emotions start to rise that you have suppressed, because if you just feel into the body, into what is right now, all that stuff is going to come up. And if you want to escape from that, usually if it's not coming up, then you're using meditation for escaping it, for suppressing something again. And if it's coming up and you allow it to, then you're definitely not escaping. So there would be again the pointer to the question before. Yes. So thank you for tuning in. I hope you could find some answers. Yeah, I hope you could find some help, some pointers, and yeah, basically to just be with what is right now. If something unpleasant arises, or even if you're just in silence. Peace out.